Interest rates remain just below 7%, and just like every other time when rates are up near 7%, home buyers hit the pause button in hopes of getting a lower rate. But is that the right move? And what does this mean for the Dallas housing market? My name is Michael. I'm a real estate agent here in the Dallas area, and every Monday I give you an update covering all of Dallas and Collin counties. We're looking for trends, which cities and zip codes are the hottest if you may be looking to get top dollar for your property, as well as which cities and zip codes are the coolest if you may be a buyer or investor looking for an opportunity. We'll also be tracking mortgage rates as well as mortgage purchase applications, as that's our best leading indicator of what demand is going to look like in the next 30 to 90 days. We'll be looking at things like median list price, days on market, how many homes had price decreases, and what's happening with inventory. And if you stick around until the end, is my favorite part. I do a top 10 rank of the hottest and coolest cities and zip codes, so you don't want to miss it. If this sounds like something you're into, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you're looking to move to the Dallas area, whether it's next week or next year, I'd love to connect. I've helped every one of these yellow dots find their little piece of Texas, and I'd love to help you too. Just call, text, or shoot me an email. All that info is in the description below. Okay, today is June 12th. Let's see what the data is telling us. And if this is an old video, you can click the playlist here, and hopefully that will take you to the most current market update. First up is market news. If you'll remember from last week, the May jobs report came out and it was very strong. Plenty of jobs are being created, unemployment remains low, and though these sound like good things, it's potentially bad for interest rates. Because what it communicates to the Fed is that the economy is still too strong even with these high rates, which tells them at the very least there's no reason to drop rates anytime soon, and it might even mean they see a reason to raise rates even further. So over the next 2 days, June 13th and 14th, the FOMC, which is the committee that sets the central bank rate, will meet and they'll be announcing their policy statement June 14th at 2 p.m. Eastern if you want to tune in for that. Remember, the Fed's main priority is to bring down inflation. If the Fed perceives the economy is still too hot, it certainly could continue raising rates, or at the very least, keep them elevated up here for much longer. So I'll say it again, neither you nor I, nor even the Fed at this point, know what's happening next with rates. Please don't sit on the sidelines thinking that rates have to come down. They don't have to come down, and they may even continue up. So if you can afford a house today, buy a house today. If rates drop, you just refinance. And if you're still on the fence about whether or not now is a good time to buy a house, please watch this video. Okay, moving on, let's take a look at interest rates. As you can see here, we started off last week at a 6.9. We barely moved. We got down to a 6.89, up to a 6.94. We ended at a 6.92, so almost no change last week. Again, the money markets are really on pause, waiting to hear what the FOMC's policy is going to be in the next few days. But I would expect once their decision is announced, we are going to see a move in one direction or the other. Hopefully it's down. Now looking at mortgage purchase application data, if you were here last week, you saw that for the last 3 consecutive weeks, since rates started getting up at over and around 7%, we saw an average of a 3.9% per week decline. And this week, we only saw a 2% decline. So the declines are getting smaller, but it still does show the market is softening when rates are around 7%. So this makes the 4th week of decline, but it should also be noted, in the past, when we would see a rate move like this, it would lead to as big as a 10% decrease in demand week over week, whereas now we're looking at 2 to 3%. So again, it's just more evidence that the market is getting used to these higher rates. Okay, moving on to housing data, we're going to start with all of Dallas County. And as you know, what we use is the Market Action Index. This just takes all of this information here and puts it into one easy to read graphic with an easy number to tell you where's the market at. Anything below a 30 means we're in a buyer's market. Anything above a 30 means how much of a seller's market are we in. So not unexpected, the Market Action Index is dropping just a little bit. But again, rates are up near 7% and they have been for a few weeks. So I'm actually surprised things haven't cooled off even further, but we're basically flat at where we were a month ago. As you can see, median list price has not dropped. Median days on market remains the lowest it's been is 28, and it's still at a 28 this week. Number of properties having price decreases, totally normal at 35%. Inventory looks like it's climbing, although it's nowhere near as significant as you would think based on that small chart, but let's just look here. So let's just look at the 7-day. As you can see, all of this looks like a very dramatic increase. It's actually just this little tiny move up. So nothing really to get excited about until we get up closer to around here, 3,700 or 4,800, somewhere in this range. Will be much healthier for our market. So yes, it looks like inventory is going up, but it's definitely not anything to get excited about yet. So all of this just points to what we saw. The market stalls when we get around 7%. Now, if the FOMC comes out with any good news and rates drop again, you can expect all of these numbers are going to continue straight up. Now let's move on to Collin County. Collin County definitely looks a little bit cooler. You can see from last month, this little sliver of gray past the line means that the Market Action Index is actually lower than it was a month ago. And you can see that here. It looks to be curving down much harder than Dallas was, although Again, not a significant decline. All of this is in the 52s, 53s. Median list price had a little drop. Median days on market got a little bit longer. It was down to 21 here, but for the last few weeks it's been at 28. Houses having price decreases, 31%. That's totally normal. Inventory again here looks to be climbing, but we're going to zoom out. And just to give you an idea of where we're at, so the market action index is still around a 52, but you can see historically it's like a 36, 37. So if you remember what it was like in 2019 to buy a house, it was a slight seller's market. Then once COVID hit and everything, we went way up here. We went all the way to 100. In April and May. Then we dropped all the way down to about a 39.40, which is much closer to a normal market, but been climbing ever since. All of this depends on interest rates. If rates go down, this will continue up. If rates go up, this will hopefully cool off and come back down. We'll build up some inventory. It would be great for buyers. I say it would be great for buyers because you're not going to be in multiple offer situations, but you are going to have an insane interest rate. But remember, you can always refinance that if rates drop in the future. So Collin County looks to be cooling off a little faster than Dallas County. I wouldn't call this a cool off until we see what happens with rates next week. So this isn't anything to be concerned about, but let's move on. Okay, now on to my favorite part of the video. We are starting out with the top 10 hottest cities and hottest zip codes of all Dallas and Collin County. Starting with the hottest cities list, Grapevine remains the #1 spot. It's been there for a long time. Carrollton holds the #2 spot this week. Saxe heats up one. Louisville cools off one. Plano cools off one. Balch Springs remains. Irving jumps onto this list out of nowhere into the #7 spot. Richardson, which had fallen off the list at #10 last week, jumps back on this week at #8. Coppell remains where it was. And Grand Prairie knocks off DeSoto for the #10 hottest city in all of Dallas and Collin County. So Allen, Duncanville, and DeSoto all got knocked entirely off the list this week. So some big moves in the hottest markets. Now let's zoom in and look at the hottest specific zip codes. #1 is Plano, Texas, 75032. Then Carrollton, 75007. Grapevine, 76051. Plano, 75075. Plano, 75025. Saxe, 75048. Irving 75063, Garland 75044, Grand Prairie 75052, and Allen 75013. So if you're in any of these zip codes, you can absolutely get top dollar for your property. You are in one of the actual 10 hottest zip codes in all of Dallas and Collin County. And that's out of 84 zip codes in Dallas County and 26 zip codes in Collin County. So it's a big deal to make this list. Now let's move on. Same thing, but the coolest cities and zip codes. Farmersville remains the coolest. Blue Ridge cools off 3 spots. Ferris heats up 1 spot. Whitewright cools off 2 spots. Which again, look at Whitewright. It is cooling off really fast. Van Alstyne heats up 1. Leonard heats up 3. Prosper remains. Seagoville cools off 1, Royce City heats up 1, and Sunnyvale replaces Rockwall at the #10 spot of the hottest city on the coolest cities list. Now zooming into the zip codes, the absolute coolest zip code, and remember a 30 and below is a buyer's market, and this one's at a 33.53, and this is over a 90-day average, so this zip code is nearly a buyer's market. Many of these are. So if you're looking to invest somewhere, this is your best chance at not getting into multiple offers and offering lower. First up is Dallas. The absolute coolest is Dallas, 75235, followed by Farmersville, 75442, Dallas, 75212, Dallas, 75219, Blue Ridge, 75424, Dallas, 75203, Ferris, 75125, Whitewright, 75491, Van Alstyne 75495, and Dallas 75209. And then let's move on to inventory. This is the weekly, this is the 90-day. We start by looking at the weekly to see is anything curving up, and we're definitely seeing some good news here. Dallas at least remains flat, McKinney flat, but look at Frisco. That is definitely curving up. It's not quite anything to get excited about yet, but it's way better than being flat or going down. Same with Plano. Prosper remains flat, Rockwall's curving up, Royce City, it curved up a little earlier, but it's now remaining flat. Nothing to get excited about. In Garland, Mesquite actually looks to be dropping in inventory, but Allen is definitely curving up too. So we're seeing a lot of good signs. It'll start curving up here, and then we want to see that reflected on the 90-day as time continues. And looking at the 90-day, for sure, places like Rockwall, you can see a nice curve up. Prosper's looking a little flat, but again, it had an early jump as well. Mesquite, as we said, is still dropping in inventory. Garland at least looks to be flattening out, but not too long ago, there was a time where all of these were just going straight down all the time. So to see that some of them have flattened out and we're seeing some really nice curves up, at least on the weekly so far, that is the beginning of hope of returning to a more normal market. And again, if you're looking to make a move in the Dallas area, whether it's next week or next year, just call, text, or shoot me an email. All that is in the description below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.